robots, like Mr. Poilievre's axe the tax, build the homes, ride the donkeys, ride the donkeys, ride the donkeys.
The Liberals have done it again. Another scandal. Just when you thought they couldn't have another scandal with everything that's going on, they've somehow managed to do it. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David, and today's top story. Remember when Justin Trudeau put out that tweet not too long ago saying that he's bringing down the interest rates on MasterCard and Visa for small businesses? Remember? That's actually true, believe it or not, but those reductions in interest rates aren't exactly to benefit Canadians. We've also got one of Trudeau's MPs absolutely making a fool of herself. And we've got Mark Holland licking Trudeau's boots. So let's get into this. Next up, we got Jennifer O'Connell contradicts herself in 45 seconds. This is a pretty funny video. So she claims Cpac security clearance wouldn't silence or handcuff the leader of the opposition, Pierre Poilievre. That she then admits it would be illegal for him to release the information around the MP names. Only she could pull this off.
Actually, Mr. Motz, who sat on Cpac, talked about being handcuffed, being silenced if the leader of the opposition got his security clearance. But Mr. Motz, who sat on Cpac, who had security clearance, as do I, as we sat together on that committee, spoke for over 15 minutes. Talk about handcuffing. He had no problem speaking for over 15 minutes about national security issues, even though he's been privy to national security information and national security clearance. That's what Conservatives are trying to suggest. They're trying to suggest on one hand that they deserve to know this other information, but they don't want to be the ones to break the law to release it. Actually,
what is she even saying there? In her defense, she's an idiot. The citizens of Canada deserve to know the names of the treasonous politicians. Yes, we do. And we trust this dimwit with national security clearance. My God. Got this one here. Danielle Smith is asked about whether she thinks there should be a federal election.
Final question. There was a recent poll out saying many Canadians want to face a federal election this year as opposed to waiting till 2025. Do you feel like Albertans are looking for an earlier federal election?
I think we would be looking for an immediate change in the Environment Minister, Stephen Guilbeault. I have a couple of good relationships with some federal ministers who I think are real champions of our province. Like Chrystia Freeland, for instance, she worked with us on carbon capture, utilization and storage. Philippe Francois Champagne has been very helpful on getting a couple of major projects to the finish line, like Dow Chemical.
Champagne, Freeland, a champion. Come on.
De Havilland and the Air Products Hydrogen. So I would say that there are some ministers that we can work with.
There's some you can work with. They're not far from champions, though. But yes, Guilbeault has to go. Huh? Yeah, exactly. She's a sellout for sure. Yeah, people are kind of turned on Danielle Smith. Smith has quickly turned into another Doug Ford. There's a lot of people making this comment. Next up, we got this. It says a man was just arrested on Parliament Hill. He tried to enter and the officers stopped him. He wanted to speak on the floor of the House of Commons. I bet you if he had a green, black, and white red flag, they would have let him in.
Well, received a bunch of head injuries, led to a second accident. Put 2 claims in. Found that the Ontario Workplace Safety Insurance Board fails to follow the directive.
I can't exactly hear what he's saying. It says he incurred a whole bunch of head injuries. It seems like, I'm guessing he hasn't seen anything from that. Maybe he's owed some support.
The doctor's argument that when they were ordered to walk, had pre-owned
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what happened there, but the man stated he had previous head injuries from workplace accident and put 2 claims in. His beef appears to be with the government of Ontario, WSIB, not the federal government. This is a really inappropriate day to pull this stunt. Yeah, this was the anniversary of the attack on Parliament Hill. Next up, we got a clip here of Mark Holland, Trudeau's Minister of Health, licking Trudeau's boots.
Have you seen the letter? Have you signed it?
Look, I haven't seen the letter. You guys talk about a letter. But look, I've gone through this a whole bunch of different times, the ups and downs of political machinations. It's, I was indoors knocking in the Niagara region as I was going there at the Dental Hygienist Conference. I had a chance to knock on doors, just talk to people outside of my own riding. And they're worried about their health system. They're worried about the state of the world. They want to know, well, I'm coming to that, but they want to hear about solutions. I didn't have, people bringing up the leadership of our party. I have people who, for sure, they're upset about the prime minister or this or that. But one of the things that I say to them is, look, this is the toughest job in the world. This is a guy who day after day after day gets attacked and punched and denigrated, and and he just steps up every day with.
Dude, come on. Trudeau's getting attacked by people because of his policies are making life terrible in Canada. It's not because he's some champion doing the right thing. He's only doing what's best for himself.
Up every day with the interests of the heart and in the interests of the country in his heart. And I have enormous amount of respect for him, the guy who showed up through the pandemic, the guy who's showing up through these incredibly difficult times in the world. Look, there's no incumbent government that's got it easy. The easy thing for him to do would be to walk away, right? But the challenges are too big. And I think the reason he stays is because he believes he's the right person for these times. And I believe that too.
These guys all protect Trudeau. I mean, if you do the math, they've been there 9, almost 10 years. They've basically, after taxes, made at least $1 million, if not more than $1 million in their bank account after it's taxed. So they've all gotten rich being Trudeau's ministers. They've ruined our country in the process, but they just keep supporting Trudeau because it keeps making them rich. Not to mention the number of these guys have dirty dealings and are getting, their companies or them are getting flush money from taxpayers through backdoor means, Eco-Green Slush Fund, whatever. They know what they're doing. He definitely believes he is the right person, even though he's far from it. But all of Canada thinks he stinks. So the real question is, why doesn't he listen to what we want? Insiders tell us the real reason he won't go is that no one else wants him, and there's still billions he can get his hands on, and he distributes to his Liberal friends. So next up, we got a pretty interesting one here. So Justin Trudeau got some discounts for Small Business Week. It was like 20% off of the fees coming from MasterCard and Visa. But conservative Leo Housakos points out it's actually not to benefit Canadians.
Senator Housakos.
Senator Gold, I quote, "When you buy something from a coffee shop or a local grocer, you want your money going right to the business owner. We made a deal with Visa and MasterCard, and now small businesses will save up to 27% more on their credit card fees." End of quote. That's a social media post yesterday from your leader, Justin Trudeau, at the start of Small Business Week. Quite the turnaround from the guy who called small business owners a bunch of cheats. The problem with that post is that Mr. Trudeau knows full well that one of the largest payment processing companies, Stripe, has said that it won't be passing those savings along to those small businesses. And who sits on the board of Stripe? Oh, look, lo and behold, it's Justin Trudeau's de facto finance minister, Mark Carney, colleagues. Senator Gold, how can your leader post something like that with a straight face, knowing damn well that those savings aren't being passed along, but are actually going right into the pockets of Mark Carney?
That's so slimy. Just think of how many things have benefited Mark Carney since he's become that, whatever his role is, advisor or whatever that crap is.
Of course.
Senator Gold.
Wow is correct, but for different reasons, Chair colleague. The progress that has been made with major credit card companies is something that it should justly be celebrated. Indeed, Canadians need the assistance, and as do the those who do their business, small businesses through Visa. That others have not followed suit is regrettable, and I'm hoping that they will indeed follow suit.
Senator Housakos.
Got nothing.
Senator Gold, Carbon Tax Carney finally announced that he will be running for elected office. Interesting timing given the uncertainty surrounding Justin Trudeau's future as Prime Minister and as leader. The truth is, Mr. Carney has been lurking around this government for quite some time, in one fashion, of course, or another. My question is simple. Was Mr. Carney an advisor on this scheme regarding the credit card fees that his company is now pocketing? Was it maybe even his idea? Whose scheme was this?
Senator Gold.
I have no information about that, but again, Mark Carney has served this country and others admirably, but to your question, I am not in position of any information regarding your question.
He's got nothing. This guy's worthless. Just get him out of there. He's a bag of wind. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. Breaking the law without repercussions, that is the worst part. Lining their pockets with taxpayer money, bordering on libel, just like your vile leader. Next up, we got Blanchette here. It says Trudeau's government is being destroyed from the inside and attacked from the outside. So he's putting the pressure on Trudeau here of his meet his demands here by October 29th with the old age security pension.
Listen, the statement will be quite brief after all. I assume that the government has access to parliamentary and regulatory levers that we do not have access to, although we have people in our team who are quite competent in such matters. But to the best of my knowledge, in 1 week, I'm not certain that the government is capable of proceeding and granting to 4 million Canadians, 1 million Quebecers, plus tens of thousands of agricultural producers, what is being requested by them very clearly, as we have seen here, and obviously by the Bloc. I invite the government, which is being ripped off from outside and then ripped off from within, to at least take a little time to manage state affairs. I feel like there is no government there anymore. There are only fairly sterile political intrigues, while we have tried and are still trying to ensure that something concrete and constructive happens in the House of Commons. So I invite them to a sudden awakening, and I invite them above all not to doubt what our behavior will be when the deadline comes.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get that stuff from Trudeau. I'm surprised that Trudeau doesn't give him what he wants. I mean, he doesn't care about our country. He doesn't care about the people. He could just give him the money. It's not like it hurts him or hurts his image or his legacy. Maybe it hurts him from lining his own pockets some more. I don't know. As this guy says here, nope, because they still have the NDP. Yeah, so Trudeau knows that probably he's still got jag meat, so he doesn't need to do that. Next up, we got this one from Government EXE is Corrupt. It says the Bank of Canada will cut rates by 50 to 75 basis points this week because they are economic bad people that will not allow prices to fall. They want Canadians to continually pay more for things they need, even though there's record poverty in Canada. So here we have a few words from Tiff Macklin here at Bank of Canada.
Inflation continues to reflect the push and pull of opposing forces. Overall weakness in the economy continues to pull inflation down. If inflation continues to ease broadly in line with our July forecast, it is reasonable to expect further cuts in our policy interest rate. With inflation getting closer to the target, we need to increasingly guard against the risk that the economy is too weak and inflation falls too much.
The stock market crash will happen very, very soon. Next up, we've got more wrong way drivers, but this time it's in Calgary. And I know why this is happening now, but let's check it out first. Look at this. Okay, so the reason this is happening is because we're getting 5 million people coming over from India every year, and India used to be a British colony, and thus any of the British colonies drive on the left side of the road. So people are coming here, they're getting it mixed up. That's why we're seeing this so often. More than often, though, it's happening in Brampton because there's way more Indian population in Brampton, but we are seeing this now across Canada. So next up here, we've got a bunch of Trudeau ministers saying whether or not they support Justin Trudeau.
When it comes to the Prime Minister, you've all heard me. Unwavering support for the Prime Minister. I fought 3 elections with him. I intend to fight a 4th election with him. And anybody who's ever bet against Justin Trudeau, sorry they made that bet the next day.
What do you think of the letter in the dissent?
Look, have you seen the letter? I haven't seen the letter. What's this supposed letter? I haven't seen the letter. I've not seen the letter and I've not signed the letter. Full stop.
MPs have said they signed it. MPs have said they signed it. Are you saying it's not real?
I haven't seen a letter. Have you seen a letter?
But your cabinet.
But I've not talked to anybody. I've not talked to anybody who's actually seen the letter.
I think first we need to find the other Randy. Then we can work about the letter. This guy is such a liar. Put him in jail.
Well, I think these are not easy times to lead. I don't know anybody who's having an easy time anywhere leading. But the Prime Minister has my full confidence and the full confidence of most of my colleagues. It's an easy time to kind of, believe there are magic solutions. And Canadians are going to go through the same kind of thing, I think, whenever the next election comes.
There is a magic solution. It's called an election. That is the solution.
I have absolute confidence in the Prime Minister.
How do you think those MPs that are signing this letter are not coming out.
I'm focused on the work that we need to do for you.
But does that bother you?
Colleagues that are.
Yes, I support the Prime Minister. What's your message to your colleagues?
How do you come back, though? How do you come back from 20 to 40 people expressing
I don't know the number.
confidence?
I don't know any numbers.
Does the number matter as much as the expression of a large group of people within the caucus?
Well, I think they have to express themselves to his face, like I've said, and not do it sort of in hushed tones. And
I absolutely support the Prime Minister.
I ask you, what is your response to Sean Casey, your colleague, who's publicly called for Trudeau to step down?
Well, look, I mean, the Liberal Party is a big tent. We often have different perspectives. I know Sean very well. He was my parliamentary secretary when I was Minister of Fisheries and Oceans, and I have a lot of respect for Sean. He has a perspective. I don't think it's a perspective that's shared by the vast majority of caucus, but it's an important, thing for us to talk about, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Well, as I say, the Liberal Party is a big tent. We have robust conversations, as we will in caucus. We're not a bunch of robots like Mr. Poilievre's axe the tax, build the homes, ride the donkeys that you see in question period. And it's important to have debates. At this point in time, clearly in the public opinion polls, we are not leading. There is concern on the part of members of caucus. It's important we have that conversation.
I think he's lost his mind. That's what's going on here.
This is that I support this Prime Minister unequivocally.
Important things that Canadians want us to focus. Just be careful. We don't want to lose you.
Well, so stand and talk to me then, and don't make me
No,
run
but
after you.
I have to go eat. I'm a guy at 54.
How do you push back to work?
No, I'd say we had a very good cabinet meeting focusing on the important things that Canadians want us to focus on. It was a very good meeting. Trust me.
Hard-hitting answer there. I'm 54. I gotta go eat.
I've been here for 10 years. But it's good. There's a lot of things that Canadians care about.
Next up, we got this dirtbag here. What's his name? Fred Hahn from the QP, the Canadian Union of Public Employees. This guy represents a whole bunch of people. And look, he's standing here with these Sammy Doon. You can't make this stuff up.
Our union, our members have been on the side of Palestinian liberation since 2006, when our union was the first in Canada to adopt a BDS campaign, the call to join BDS. Have the Canadian state honor the ICC warrant against Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We are committed to working with our members, to doing member-to-member education to make sure that people understand the history of Israel's occupation and colonization of Palestine and the Canadian state's role in propping up this horrible Zionist regime.
He sounds just like one of these people. Interesting.
That as the largest union in Canada, our members have decided to do this. But we did it in part because of a call from Palestinian trade unionists for solidarity. As workers, when workers in any part of the world call on our solidarity, we must be there with them. They pick on anyone who dares to stand on the side of justice and stand with Palestine.
What are you talking about? There's not like these mobs of Israeli people roaming the streets of Canada. Like, what the heck, man? If you have a problem with Israel or Netanyahu or whatever, then go over there and have your problem with him there. The people of Israel and Canada are peaceful. This is ridiculous.
Look around you, friends. This is a diverse crowd.
Yeah, he's choking on his lies is what he's choking on.
People from unions, from community, all of us coming together. And it is because of these actions, because people come together, because we mobilize, because we demonstrate that the Canadian government has been forced to move so far. Let's keep going! Let's keep going! In my lifetime I will see! In my lifetime I will see! Palestinians will be free! Palestinians will be free! In our lifetime we will see! In our lifetime we will see! Palestine will be free! Palestine will be free! In our lifetime we will see! In our lifetime we will see! Palestine will be free! Palestine!
Okay, Fred, this guy shouldn't be in charge of a candy store, let alone a union of workers, thousands of workers. This guy's what's wrong with Canada. We've created untouchable monsters using their minority status. This is embarrassing. He's mentally sick. Ridiculous. Next up, we got this one with Sean Fraser. He says he's in Whitby today with his community champions. Great to check out some amazing projects, sport complex, blah, blah, blah. You know what we're looking at here? Sean Fraser has uploaded an illegal drone clip. This is illegal. You can't do this in Canada. I like that he posts this. He has no idea. So in Canada, you can't hover a drone over a road like this. Even in America, their drone laws are much more lax. In America, you're allowed to fly a drone over a road as long as you keep moving. It has to be in motion. That way, if something happens to it, it's more than likely will not land in traffic and cause a big accident. But in Canada, you can't put a drone over top of the road like this because you're over top of someone's head. And that is against the law, even if you have an RPAS advanced license. This is not allowed unless this was a shut down street, which I doubt. So thanks for breaking the law here, Sean Fraser. I like down in the comments here, people post the Whitby conservative likely. There you have it. A policy Trudeau said was designed to help small businesses in Canada. Turns out it's just to help carbon tax Carney. This is going to get kind of interesting here because carbon tax Carney is very much gunning for Trudeau's job, waiting for things to fall apart. I don't know if he wants to step in right now. Maybe he does. And with that, we've got Christy Clark, that former failed loser BC Premier Christy Clark. She's just like Justin Trudeau. She's like the female version. She's just as nasty as he is. She wants that job too. So maybe we'll see a jousting match between the two of them here very soon.